everybody. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good. I'm excited. We have done this now. Is this the third annual? The second annual? The 15th annual African American Media Breakfast. And I thought it was a brilliant idea when we did it last year because we've been doing one for the Latino media for a long time. And we hadn't done one for within our own community in many ways, my own community. And I'm just very happy we're doing this. I was told and criticized last year that I talked way too long about what was going on. Imagine that, a lawyer and a politician talking way too long. So what I'm gonna do real quick is I just wanna give a quick summary of what's going on in the top line billings, and then let's get into it. I know there's a lot of issues that are going on in Newark, in the state of New Jersey. There are a lot of issues going on nationally right now that we might want to talk about a little bit more. So I'm really more curious about what's on your minds to have a good dialogue and have a good conversation. We have a lot of our leaders in this room that I might hand off to should there be a need to get a deeper perspective. But let's just go jump in. We really are at a point in the city of Newark that many people imagined we could not get to in this city. And when I sort of encountered cynics 6 years ago and naysayers who told me certain things just could not happen. But now in the city of Newark, we're seeing really probably one of the most exciting periods of hope that we've seen in a long time.
Just how active you are and knowing how the young people feel. I just want to piggyback off my sister over here with this national issue that we're dealing with right now. I currently in Chicago, I'm a former resident of New Jersey, just moved back to Chicago a few years ago, and have a passion for young people, you know, our kids on the street, and I hear and see their pain. And some of them don't aspire to go to college because they're intimidated or they already feel threatened. So I've developed my own personal way of communicating with them. What do you feel about developing small cell groups in neighborhoods where they're comfortable reaching them where they are, and then developing a program that would promote their growth mentally and emotionally to prepare them to want to pursue a higher education? Because most of them are gifted and talented, but because of the victim mindset that has been developed through media. And this is why Movement Magazine, with my partner, editor-in-chief Audrey Blanc, has the vision. We're writing our own story. We're not waiting for national media to tell us what we look like and what we feel like. So we've decided to take that power back and write our story. So what would be your approach to possibly developing those cell groups and meeting them right where they are?
That's a very good question. Look, in some ways we found out that there are limits of what government can do.
Right.
And so we've got to create partnerships with community organizations, with churches, mosques, with a lot of other folks to try to deal with the issues that you're talking about. And you know this, if you're a woman born in this world, forget race for a second, you're being bombarded with messages. I was playing with my niece, and I never watched TV through her eyes before. I was playing with my niece, and I looked up and I saw this commercial that offended me suddenly as I'm sitting there playing with my niece, realizing that she's gonna live her life with these kind of messages hitting her self-concept, her self-esteem.
Right.
If you're African American, if you're Muslim today, you're dealing with a whole new level of scrutiny and negative messages, you know. And I was with a Muslim friend the other day watching TV and seeing the villains of how they were portrayed. And so the question is how do we in a community begin to give kids what they need, which is a healthy self-concept, this belief that there's nothing I can't achieve. And I think you're right in your approach. It has to happen in small grassroots groups that are doing things. For me, as a young man growing up, I grew up with vigilant parents, cultural institutions, my church, and the like that constantly helped give me the armor I needed to go out into a world that often judged me just by the color of my skin.
Right.
And so when you ask me the specific question about what are we doing, you know, we're trying to support that kind of blossoming within our community. There are a lot of good organizations in Newark that were around before I even came around that had the same mission, the same drive and conviction to do something. And we're trying to help them. It's a tough environment right now. Nonprofits, so hard to raise money now. Philanthropic contributions have gone down. The money, that discretionary money that the city used to have through community development block grants and things like that has gone down. It's a very, very tough environment. But there has to be a greater sense of urgency that's just not there. And the last point I'll give you, which is so offensive to me, is what I mentioned before. If all my fourth graders, or just the ones that were considered, and I don't like this term necessarily, but at risk, had a mentor, imagine that, another caring adult in their lives. All data shows that you drive down criminal activity, that you drive down involvement in early unsafe sex practices, and your academic performance goes up. One mentor makes that kind of powerful difference. So what bothers me in my city is, and all of us should self-examine on this, is it takes only 4 hours a month to mentor. The amount of time it takes to watch Dancing with the Stars or whatever favorite show, but we can't get people to do it. And so if I'm an African American male, and you don't need to be black or any race to do it, but if I can find time as mayor of the city of Newark to mentor a young person, to spend 4 hours of my month with them, why can't we all? Why is there a waiting list right now of often hard-working single moms who want to get a mentoring program? Why is there a waiting list when there's so many capable and competent African Americans or other folks that could do it? And this is the problem in our country, is we got our folks caught in what I call a state of sedentary agitation. We get so upset about the problems, but we're not getting up and doing something. And I've always said that, I think it was Malcolm X that said he has a right to complain who has a heart to help. And there's not enough people that are out there on the front line saying, as an individual, I'm going to do something different this year to deal with the problems that I complain about during the same time.
This is Sharon Sykes, host of the Movement magazine, and I have the privilege of speaking with Newark Chief of Police.
Correct.
And your name is?
Sheila Coley.
Well, first of all, we want to say that we are proud of you. So tell us, what has your experience been like to be the Chief of Police of Newark, New Jersey?
Well, it's actually the icing on the cake for me. I've always wanted to be in law enforcement. That was my childhood dream, so I'm living out my dream. And I'm taking advantage of that, to give back to the community. And there was a lot of talk about the youth this morning, and that's absolutely one of my biggest target audience.
And what is your goal? You've already done a lot. It's all over the country. What are your goals? What are you looking to achieve even more so, in addition to what you've already done for the city of Newark with the youth?
I want a more human approach. I don't want to just be seen as law enforcement. I want to restore some of the hope back in our young folks and let them know that it doesn't matter where you come from, you don't have to stay there. It doesn't matter what your home situation is, you can still be better. And I'm speaking from, a personal point. At one point I was a foster kid, and here I am now the Chief of Police, so it can happen. It can happen.
You've had the privilege of speaking with us. This is Sharon Sykes. I'm your host from the Movement magazine, speaking with Newark's own Chief of Police,
Sheila Coley.
Thank you for watching.
You look like me.
How you doing? My name is James Wright, Inspector General, City of Newark. We're here at the Newark Club. We just had Cory Booker speaking to us about the City of Newark, the wonderful things that we're doing. I'm here with my friend Audrey, Egypt, Brick City, Stella Wright, the Movement magazine, doing all the good things in the City of Newark. We're going to do it all soon. And I'm the new host. Thank you.
Actually, you didn't do bad, though. I
I don't know. I'm just...